Hello and welcome to the first ever Redbrick Sport podcast. We're talking about football here today, as we'll be every week from now on. And I'm joined by some lovely guests. You guys introduce yourselves and tell us who you support.
So I'm Harry. I'm a Villa fan, unfortunately. From Wales. So at least I had some fun in the summer. But yeah, anyway, that's me, Harry.
I'm Sam. I'm an Arsenal fan, so perennial fourth place, not great.
I'm Nancy. I'm a Southampton fan.
I'm Nicola. I'm a Cobblers or Northampton Town fan.
And I'm Dan, and I'll be your host for these podcasts. And I am a Wigan fan, so not much better, really. Our first game that we're going to talk about was probably the biggest game of the weekend, and it was Tottenham versus Man City. Did everyone watch this?
Yeah, I watched it. It was pretty interesting. The thing I took most from it was, as a keeper, I don't understand Claudio Bravo. It annoys me. It's a really strange concept for me that a team would sign a goalkeeper just because they're good with their feet. I wasn't really interested in Spurs outplaying. I was just watching Bravo and praying that he would make a mistake and concede the goal from playing out too much.
It did look quite shaky from the back, didn't
yeah.
it? And the crowd were really getting on his back so you could hear them.
Exactly, yeah, and it was really annoying. Even though he saved a penalty, which was probably Son's fault, which we'll probably talk about in a minute. But I don't know, I just don't like it. I like Joe Hart. I'm from Shrewsbury, so for me, Joe Hart's a bit of a hero of mine. And it was the kind of game yesterday where I think if City would have had Hart, they would have got a result. It's just they were missing that, bit of, heart. Pun not intended.
Clever. Good start
not intended.
to the year. Talking about missing players, do you think they missed Kevin De Bruyne? Because the one outlet that City had was David Silva, and Tottenham did a really good job of kind of smothering his passing, so that he could never really get Aguero and Sterling ahead of him on the ball.
Yeah. Silva had an alright game, to be fair. I would say it was more to do with them having to play Navas. And Navas is just he's one of the strangest footballers because he provides no end product. He's quick. His most valuable asset is helping City avoid being counter-attacked. That's the most valuable thing I've seen.
It's especially strange because they have Leroy Sané, who is one of the best young wingers in the world, and exactly the kind of player that Pep wants because he bought him himself on the bench and only coming on for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest.
What do you make of Kolarov playing in central defence, everyone?
Well, he conceded an own goal, so the stats speak for themselves,
That's
don't they?
not a good start.
Good finish, to be fair.
What's interesting, I think, from this matchup was that Pochettino was only one of very few managers who actually managed to beat Pep's Barcelona in their treble-winning season when he was manager of Espanyol. So clearly, Pochettino has the tactics to beat Pep. And do you think we're going to see more teams really attacking Man City, getting in their face to force them back, which seems to be working for Celtic as well in midweek in the Champions League? Even though City managed to actually score 3 goals in that game despite playing very badly. So do you think we're going to see a change in the Premier League with teams actually going for Man City?
Yeah, I think you mentioned before about the crowd, the Spurs crowd getting on top of Bravo and kind of putting them under more pressure. I think now that they've actually lost the game, people see them less as this invincible, super Guardiola team and more as a beatable team, especially when they're playing away. I think going to the Etihad will still be just as formidable, but I think teams will look at them slightly differently now.
Okay, and what about Tottenham? Do we think they have a title-winning chance this season?
I mean, don't look at the Arsenal fan when you ask that question.
I don't think you can rule them out. I like Pochettino. He did a good job at things, so.
He's done quite a good job of motivating them after the disappointment last season, I think, because they've started quite well this season. Are they still the only team that's unbeaten in the league now? I think they might be. Somebody check that. One player who's played really well is Heung-min Son, who's been having a great few weeks. But did anyone see him arguing with Lamella about who would take the penalty?
It's a bit of a disgrace, to be fair. I thought it seemed obvious that Lamella was the designated penalty taker. So for him to sort of feel entitled to take it just because he's in form, it was a bit of a, as I said, disgrace. But still, he can't really take the blame off Lamella for missing it. It wasn't the worst penalty, but still, you can't really blame Son for Lamella missing it.
Yeah. Okay, Nicholas just confirmed that they are indeed the only team unbeaten in the league, so that's good. I was right. Sam, did you say you watched the Liverpool game?
I did. I watched most of the Liverpool.
What did you make of that?
It was a bit. Liverpool didn't look the attacking threat they've been this season. They were sort of average most of the game. Lucky to come away with the win, I felt. I felt Swansea deserved a draw from their performance. They looked good in attack and they had a few opportunities, but Liverpool were clinical when it counted.
Yeah, I think first half was perfect from Swansea, really. They sat off, and all the pace that's in Liverpool's front four after Lallana went off, it just didn't work because Swansea sat quite deep, and normally in that scenario you'd see Coutinho shooting from 40 yards every few minutes, but even he wasn't doing that. And really, Swansea should have gone even further ahead with their new signing, Borja, had scored those two marvellous headed opportunities.
Oh, missed a couple.
He had a chance in the end, didn't he, as well, to equalise?
Yeah, that Van der Horn, the centre-back, for some reason, stalling into the box, missed a chance to equalise. It could have been very, very different if he'd done that. But once Liverpool get going, they really look quite good, don't they? Does anyone think they could be in for a shout to win the league?
Nah.
Never really
I don't know.
It depends. Their defence is still very shaky.
Yeah.
Need to get their keeper fit. Mignolet's not good enough.
Karius did look quite good there.
Yeah.
Coming back off a broken hand.
Yeah.
Guidelin's under a bit of pressure, especially after that result. And one name that's been thrown around to replace him, we have to mention it, Ryan Giggs. Does anyone think Ryan Giggs is going to become the Swansea manager? And if so, how will that go?
The sort of mad thing people do nowadays.
I feel like it could happen.
It could also work.
If they offer
someone unproven like Giggs mid-season is the sort of thing that could. You never know what he's going to do. He hasn't been a manager before, so he could help them for mid-season.
I think if he's wise, he won't throw himself into that. But likewise, if he is offered enough money, I'm sure he'd be tempted.
He's learnt from the best under Ferguson, so maybe he's got a few ideas.
It depends how involved with Salford he is right now.
Oh yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Gary Neville's everything to go by, then
No.
maybe not Swansea. Keep Guidelin, we like him. Did anyone watch the United game? I must confess I didn't, and potentially glad that I didn't as well.
I didn't, but I'm glad Joe Allen scored because
I didn't. I was too busy playing the Journey on FIFA, to be fair.
Okay.
Playing rubbish in order to go on loan to Villa.
A very productive discussion then. Yeah, what is going on at Man United? One week they look great, and then the next week they go and lose 2 or 3 games in a row, and then you've got a problem. And
I think that's the sort of general flaw with signing a load of new players, is that even if they're all superstars, okay, sometimes the superstars and that quality will show through and they will win games, but they haven't gelled as a team yet, and you can tell when they just don't pull off victories when they should.
Right, what about Rooney? Anyone got an opinion on him? Because he didn't start this game and they didn't win. So clearly it's not all about dropping Wayne Rooney to get the win.
I mean, when they played against Northampton the other week in the Cup, he was not great at all. And that's a League One side who's been in League Two for 6 years and only just come up. So if he can't score against them, it might be an issue.
He is a man without a position as well.
Yeah.
He's not really a striker anymore, but he's also not a midfielder.
It looks to me like all he can do is ping a pass cross field, and other than that, there's not a lot that he's useful for. Because he does a lot of running, but not actually very useful running. He doesn't really close down people as much as you want to think he does. and then really what is it that he's doing? And playing alongside Zlatan Ibrahimovic, there's no pace if you have both of them in the team. So, do we think Pogba should be playing further forward, or do we like Mata in Rooney's role?
I think it depends who they're playing against with Pogba. So if they're playing like against a lesser team, I reckon Pogba can play in that position where he sort of dominates midfield. He plays both CDM and Cam simultaneously. But when they're playing against a stronger team, Pogba has to have a designated position. He has to play either or. So I think it depends really with Pogba in that regard.
Okay. Well, they spent a lot of money on him, so they need to get his positioning right. One guy who's been quite good this season is Jesse Lingard, and he's just been named in Gareth Southgate's England squad. Do we think he deserves his place?
Don't see why not. Like, it's worked out well for Rashford, and be good to see something a bit different for England.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, I haven't watched much of Lingard play, but is he not a winger conventionally?
Yeah.
Which is what England are really, really missing, especially from the last Euros. And even if you talk about, Sterling and Walcott both coming in form now, they're both very hit and miss players, so it doesn't hurt to give another winger a chance and see what he can do.
Yeah. We definitely need an injection of pace after the Euros performances. So,
there's not much more that can go wrong for England, really.
Yeah.
Why not
well,
go now?
talking about Stoke as well, Glenn Johnson managed to make it into the England squad, despite not having played for England since 2014.
Is that not more to do with Klein being injured?
Well, yeah, but there are young players you could give that opportunity to.
Yeah.
He's 32. He hasn't played for England for 2 years. He's been part of a Stoke defence that just concedes goals for fun, except against Man United, clearly.
I guess he's more there as a squad player. If you consider Walker is almost certainly the starter.
Yeah.
And that's not going to change. They're not going to try out Johnson.
But do you not think if you know Walker's going to start, you want to bring
I agree with that you should be putting someone young in
to learn from Walker, because Walker is a good player.
Especially
he wasn't too bad at the Euros.
So like World Cup qualifiers against teams like Malta and Slovenia, you probably those are the games you put younger players in, give them a shot and see what they can do on the international stage.
Did anyone watch Chelsea Hull? No.
I saw the match of the day highlights.
Was it good? Was it a good bounce back performance after that horrible defeat last week?
It was. Chelsea were definitely better than they were against Arsenal.
Yeah.
I saw that game. They did look better. They looked quite good going forward. Good counter-attacking as well. But Hull defended well from what I saw. It was sort of a couple of just really good shots from the edge of the box that were pretty difficult to save.
Yeah, what do we think about Hull? Because they're a bit of a makeshift team this season with obviously Steve Bruce leaving just before the start of the season and not really having any fit players. I think was this week the first time they changed their starting 11 this season? I think it is,
yeah.
That just says it all, really. So, do we think they're going to stay up? Anyone have any hope for Hull? Or
apparently there was a stat that if you win, you don't lose in your first 4 games, then you don't go down or something.
And Hull didn't lose in the first 4 games.
Oh, sorted then. Hull aren't getting relegated.
Yeah.
Sorted.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first on the Redbrick Sport podcast. Arsenal had a very, very fortunate victory away at Burnley. I don't know how much Koscielny knew about his goal, but he got it after Oxlade-Chamberlain basically hit it into his hand/face, depending on whether you're the referee or a Burnley fan. Were Arsenal any good?
They were not. They had no creativity going forward. Everyone, at one point towards the end, they had a corner and there were 2 players in the box and 4 stood on the edge of the box, which basically tells you all you need to know. They weren't trying to score. It was a sort of game where you maybe prefer a Giroud up front because you can put a ball into the box for a header. Generally speaking, I disagree. I think the formation and the team they've played, I watched all of Arsenal's last 3 games and that formation did work well. But when Burnley were putting everyone behind the ball, you need to be making the runs and trying to go forward. Yeah. There was a lot of stop-start and no creativity.
I know Giroud has an injury, but do you think he still has an important role at Arsenal for games exactly like these, where you need something to change. And as good as Alexis Sanchez is,
Yeah, bringing Giroud off the bench would have probably made a big difference.
Yeah.
I don't think Arsenal had any strikers on the bench yesterday. Just midfielders and a lot of defenders. But in the end, they did what the best teams do, and they did get a win where they needed to get a win.
Yeah.
Which in previous years they haven't done.
Yeah, this is exactly the sort of game they would have lost before, especially having played midweek.
And all those players have played essentially 3 games in a row. That's starting 11, with the exception of Czech.
Walcott.
Czech looks shaky, didn't he? I just want to mention.
Yeah.
I've always thought he's one of the most overrated keepers ever. He was good at Chelsea in 2006, but now he's past it, and Ospina should be starting ahead of him. That's what I'm going to say.
I think Ospina's earned his place and isn't getting in because it's Czech.
Yeah.
So
the only reason Czech is a top goalkeeper is because people think he's a top goalkeeper. If that makes sense. So, part of being a goalkeeper, like a well-renowned goalkeeper, is people thinking you are, so they have more confidence in you, and it creates some sort of strange illusion that he is a top goalkeeper, even when you look at the evidence. He's not.
Good saves.
Yeah, but that's not. Being a keeper is not about making good saves. It's about being consistent and being totally, confident and not making any mistakes.
I agree, but as long as you're keeping goals out, that's all you really need to do for your team. As long as you can do that and you can stop the other team scoring, then you put your team in the best position to win games and win the league.
Has he ever been the same since his head injury?
Well, I suppose. But can you blame his head injury though?
No, but it's just that changed him.
Yeah,
as
I suppose.
goalkeeper.
Yeah,
You can mark it as a point
You're not
away.
necessarily going to be so eager to dive right next to the post if you've
Yeah.
already had that sort of injury once.
I just want to quickly touch on Theo Walcott, who seems to have, if we think Raheem Sterling's been revived under Pep Guardiola, then Theo Walcott has certainly been revived this season as well. How's he playing, everyone? Do you like watching Theo Walcott play and succeed?
Yes, at the moment he's looking good because he's actually making runs and finding space.
Yeah.
And looking like the player everyone thought he could be.
Do you think he's enjoying playing on the wing, having wanted to play centrally and then on the wing? Where does he actually want to play? Does anyone know? Does Theo Walcott even know where he wants to play?
I'm not sure.
Stick him in goal.
He's also not really playing as a conventional winger. He's moving inside a lot, but he is making runs and finding space and scoring goals.
Yeah, I think he's really benefiting from this Alexis Sanchez kind of as the forward.
And this formation has got a lot of link players, Ozil, Iwobi, Sanchez.
Because Walcott's runs are exactly the sort of thing that works in this system.
I think he wanted to be the next Thierry Henry, didn't he?
He
got the shirt number and he thought, I'll go up the middle, this is going to work for me, and then probably needed the wake-up call of transfer rumours to
I was going to say, I feel like Jack Wilshere being transferred on loan kind of gave him a kick up the bum.
Same for Oxlade-Chamberlain as well.
I think Walcott said recently that he's sort of got a new work ethic and he's working harder this season.
So we think they don't want to go the same way as Jack Wilshere.
Yeah.
Well,
He hasn't got 90 minutes,
No.
even at Bournemouth.
All right. Those are the big games of the weekend, with no disrespect to everyone else. Everton drew 1-0 with Crystal Palace in what was essentially the battle of the big Belgian strikers, with Lukaku and Benteke. They're both scoring. Did we watch this game, anyone?
I saw highlights on Match of the Day.
All right. Sunderland managed to actually pick up a point against West Brom, which I'm surprised about, actually, because West Brom are normally pretty defensive away from home, and if anyone was not going to score against them, it was Sunderland. But what do I know? Nasser Chadley, though, looks like a great signing for West Brom, and he's not the sort of player you'd really associate with the club. Do we like that signing?
It's a bit early to tell on signings like that. Obviously some signings you can tell after 2 or 3 games if they're making a big impact or they're big flop and not performing at all. but the middling ones, it's still too early to tell if they're sort of their little impact in every game.
Well, he's got 3 goals in 3 games for West Brom now. So yeah, we'll see if he's a success. Watford drew 2-2 and Bournemouth. Troy Deeney's having a really good season. I read something that said he puts on loads of weight at the beginning of the season and then basically runs it all off during the season. He does look pretty big, but that's not stopping him scoring.
Didn't Alan Shearer say that he thinks that he should get an England call-up?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were throwing that around.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What do we think of that? Anyone want Troy Deeney for England?
I mean, I think if you're going with a new striker, you might as well go with Rashford.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't play Kane and you think Vardy maybe isn't quite worth it, system player or whatever your criticisms, then you might as well go with Rashford and give him more of an opportunity because he is younger.
Yeah, I think England should start looking more long term rather than just giving players like Deeney call-ups just for the sake of it. They should start thinking about themselves more rather than keeping players happy.
You're playing form or a system, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you need to mind up which one they want.
Yeah, exactly.
Bournemouth played really good football. There's one thing I wanted to mention, and Eddie Howe's name has been thrown around with regards to the England job. Obviously, Gareth Southgate's got it for 4 games, and from what I can see, as long as he doesn't lose the majority of those, he'll probably be in charge indefinitely. But Eddie Howe, do we like him? Do we like Bournemouth? Do we think they'll be okay this season?
For the future, Eddie Howe. I mean, I wouldn't. If I was any manager in the world, I wouldn't touch that England job. It's poisonous. You can't win in that position, even if you win all your games. You're not picking the right players. You're not playing the right way.
Yeah, he'd ruin his career. If he went to England now, that would be the end of his career, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. West Ham drew 1-1 at home to Middlesbrough. What on earth is happening to West Ham? Payet has rescued them in this game, and it looks like that's what they're going to be relying on for most of the season because they are horrendous.
They need to find some supporting cast for Payet, otherwise he will want to leave, possibly even in January.
Isn't it the same, like, the whole new squad, loads of injuries?
Yeah.
It's just new stadium, which everyone seems to hate, but
Yeah.
I like.
I don't think the new stadium will affect it that much because
it's a scapegoat.
You can train on that pitch and you can get used to it before you play any games.
But you can't stand up in the crowd. So there we go. I was there in the first ever game they played there, and I was told to sit down, and I did. I'd like to point out. So nobody shout at me.
It's going to take a year to sort that kind of stuff out.
Yeah. Nancy, Southampton had a 0-0 draw with Leicester. This really looked like 2 sides who were exhausted after the midweek games.
Probably very true, to be honest. I think, I don't know, Southampton should have won by the sounds of it. And that's probably credit to getting the new system settled in a bit. I think they're on like 4 clean sheets now, which is good. Getting back to sort of our season, but yeah, I don't know.
Talk about Van Dijk.
What about Van Dijk?
The revelation he's become.
Well, see, he's a fan favourite if you go down to St Mary's. Van Dijk is everyone's hero, but like the rest of the world is finally waking up to him. So, yeah, well, Charlie Austin's coming into form, so that's all good. Although he didn't really make the most of it yesterday.
Yeah.
Post, so. But yeah, it's kind of good that we're challenging Leicester, after last season.
Yeah.
So you take that.
And you're right about clean sheets because if you'd rather build off of clean sheets than conceding a lot but scoring a lot, I think.
Yeah,
so exactly. It looks alright for Southampton. Leicester, reigning Premier League champions. It still sounds weird to say that. How do you think they're going to end up this season? I predicted mid-table before the season started, and I'm kind of still thinking 10th, 11th.
Yeah, the mid-table sounds about right. Their striker signings, I mean, they signed 2 new strikers as well. We've already had Vardy, and it's not.
Islam Slimani and Ahmed Musa.
But it's not really working out for them.
Well, I think it's because they're in the Champions League. Like he scored, didn't he, midweek against Porto. I think
He has an incredible record against Porto because he used to play for Sporting, and he just doesn't ever fail to score against them. It's great. But I tell you, Champions League is definitely a distraction. I think because so many people have told Leicester, "Oh, you're never going to do that again," about the Premier League, they're just looking at the Champions League and being like, "Right, let's go win that instead."
I think
and it looks like, without barring a catastrophe, I think they'll get out of their group fairly comfortably.
I think as well with their signings, they made a few big money signings with the money they got, whereas so their squad depth for Champions League and Premier League isn't there, whereas they would have been wiser to invest their money in a few more.
Yeah.
They signed a couple of 30 million players, and they might have been wiser buying 3 10 million players with that and having better depth to change the squad up for the Champions League.
Trying to replace Kante, because at the moment I can't see a player at Leicester who's really ever going to be able to replace him. Not that he's playing hugely well at Chelsea actually though, because I think last week he was outrun throughout the entire game by the referee, which is not really what you want.
I think that some of that hasn't Conte been playing a lot of various different formations and systems at Chelsea. And
I'm
it's very
sure that will
difficult for any
settle down.
player to settle in when the manager can't settle on.
There's no mistaking that Kante is an excellent player, and it's going to be tough to replace for Leicester. All right, we'll take a break and then we'll talk about lower leagues and women's football when we come back. Alright, we're back. We're going to start with the Championship. Harry is our resident Aston Villa fan. What has happened at Villa Park? And tell us the big news.
Well, tell you the big news.
Well, I already know, but tell everyone who's listening.
So, fresh when we're recording this, Di Matteo has been sacked. And I didn't want to think of it at first, but after thinking about it for about 5 minutes, I realised that it probably is the right call. It's just annoying. It's annoying because it was meant to work. Di Matteo, Champions League winning manager, Steve Clark assistant. We're going to boss the Championship. We're going to walk it. Didn't work out like that. Tactically, I've heard people say that he's worse than Sherwood. I was at the Preston game on Saturday, and oh dear. Basically, so we were 2-0 down at half time, and Di Matteo did only what I can describe as what a 10-year-old would do. Say if a 10-year-old was playing FIFA and he was 2-0 down to his older brother, he'd bring on all the strikers. So we brought on Gusted and McCormack, so we were basically playing 4 strikers in the second half, with Jedinak on his own midfield. So there was no link between defence and attack, and it just didn't work. So it's just tactically he doesn't seem to understand his players, what he's doing, and he can't see out a game. Well, I say he can't see out a game. The players have got to take most of the blame, but still, 5 goals conceded in the last 5 minutes, 9 points lost. It's not luck anymore after that. If we had those extra 9 points, we'd be 7th, still behind Blues. But
all right, who do you think will replace him?
I think Steve Clark,
the
manager, is fine.
Yeah, well, he's going to be the caretaker manager. We'll just see how he does. If he wins the next 4 games or so, then it's an easy choice. Steve Bruce is the obvious one knocking around, and I think if he didn't have his history at Blues, if he didn't manage Blues for 6 years, he'd be straight in there. But because obviously he was there for 6 years, it makes it a lot more complicated. We'd been there, done that with McLeish, and it turns out to be a disaster. So
what about Sam Allardyce?
I'll just say no.
All right.
Thank you.
Quickly touch on Wigan. 21st in the Championship on 9 points with 2 wins, 6 losses. It's been awful. Step up from League One has been a lot harder than we expected. And we seem to go through patches of either being able to score and not defend, or defend and not score. It's going to be a struggle. But we'll stay up, I believe. Nicola, tell us about League One and maybe League Two.
So League One, Coventry got the first win of the season. Obviously they sacked their manager last week, but they got a 2-0 victory against Port Vale and are now off the bottom of the table. Walsall also won, so the other West Midlands team. Scunthorpe are at the top of the table. Bradford City remain unbeaten, and my team lost for the first time at home since December 2015.
Remind us who your team are again.
Northampton Town.
Alright.
And in League Two, Will Norris, Cambridge United goalkeeper, saved 2 penalties in 1 match. He saved 4 this season. Pretty good record. And Cambridge won the game 2-1, even though they were down to 9 men.
Impressive.
2 losses at the start of the season. Plymouth have not lost since, so they're now top of the table. And Carlisle are also unbeaten after last year obviously was a bit stop and start with their stadium flooding, etc.
Yeah.
And Newport sacked their manager. They've only played 9 games because of interrupted flooding, etc.
Yeah.
And they're on the bottom of the table. And just to mention for National League, Solihull Motors, they were promoted last season. They've been a bit inconsistent, but they got a 4-2 win at Maidstone on Saturday. And obviously National League is always very high scoring. So there was a 5-0 win for Chester and a 3-3 against Woking and Eastleigh.
Oh, Woking. Almost my local team. Right, thanks for that lightning quick roundup. Nancy, do you have a little thing to say on women's football? Because I know a lot's going on at the moment.
It's all about Man City this week. They've got 2 trophies in a week. So league, they wrapped up on last weekend, unbeaten. But they got a game to go, and they beat Birmingham City yesterday in the League Cup in extra time, which actually was a bit surprising. I wasn't expecting it to be that tricky for them. But yeah, they are bossing it at the moment, and to be honest, look good going into Europe, which I think starts in 2 weeks' time, Women's Champions League.
All right.
Yeah.
Just a question: do you support a different team in women's football?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who do you support in women's football?
Arsenal.
Interesting.
Well, there's a story. You probably don't have time for it, but Southampton are now launching their own women's team, so get ready. Well, Southampton ladies are coming.
All right. That's all we've got time for. Big thank you to my guests Harry, Sam, Nancy, and Nicola. I've been your host Dan, and we will see you next week.